Welcome back to Evolve with Unique. It's your girl Carolyn. Before we get started, I'm just going to burn some sage. I want to cleanse the space, remove any negative energy. I woke up today. I woke up and my cell phone was off. My cell phone was disconnected. And I had to laugh. I laughed because once upon a time, if I woke up and my cell phone was off, I would go into a pity party, feeling sorry for myself, upset, woe is me. But this message today is really to share my journey, how I got started, and if you're going through the same experiences, for me to encourage you not to give up, to keep pushing forward, because there's a reason that all of this is happening in your life. So when I started my journey, it was just like I was tired of constantly dealing with certain types of energies. I felt like I was not fulfilled. I felt like I was lacking something in my life. I didn't really have true happiness, and I kept making decisions that put me at risk, right? I kept connecting with people that didn't have my best interests, or they just didn't see their actions, right? Because they themselves, maybe have gone through some things in their lives. So they started projecting. And I myself projected, right? It was just a cycle of unhealthy patterns that I've been going through my entire life, and I didn't understand why until I had my spiritual awakening. And what is a spiritual awakening? It's when something happens either in your life to wake you up to a higher consciousness, where you see that the reason why things happen in your life the way that they do is because of your thinking, because of your views about yourself. And a lot of times it has to do with, growing up, what you saw, what you normalized. And then in return, you started acting out, thinking that that was normal behavior, but in reality, it wasn't. It's just learned behavior, things you learned over time, right? And the thing is, from, childhood to adulthood, we come in contact with so many people over the years that slowly but surely we don't realize that we're being programmed to act like that person that we spend most of our time with. And so growing up, if you grew up in a household where your parents didn't really show you unconditional love, if your parents didn't show you how to deal with your problems in a healthy way, then as you get older, you start attracting certain circumstances in your life, and then you start exhibiting certain behaviors because of that. And so I didn't know that. I always questioned why I always attracted certain types of relationships where men were emotionally unavailable, or I was being cheated on, or I felt like I was, clingy and being needy and all these different things. But I didn't realize it's because of my experiences growing up. So when I had my spiritual awakening and it woke me up, it kind of, it shocked me a lot, I'm not gonna lie, and I went into a depression because I was like, oh my gosh, my entire life was a lie. Like, that's how I felt. I'm like, my entire life was a lie. I've been living this lie. I've been walking around blind, not knowing my actions, and constantly blaming everybody else, and constantly, being angry at the world, being angry at my parents. But as I started really reflecting and digging deep and allowing myself to be guided intuitively by meditating and writing in my journal and really doing that introspection, I realized that people are who they are because of their environment. And so the times that I went through life where I didn't know how to deal with my problems, I allowed myself to go in depression, I allowed myself to have constant anxiety and feel anxious and feel nervous and feel insecure, I realized it was learned behavior. So I needed to reprogram all of that. And so I started doing the work. I started meditating daily. I started writing in my journal. Every morning when I wake up, I thank God, I thank universe for the things that I'm grateful for, right? Because even though I woke up today and my cell phone is off, I still have the internet, so I can still make this video. I have an iPhone, so I can still text people who have iPhones. I have WhatsApp, so I can still communicate through WhatsApp. You know, there's always a positive to a negative. And so that I'm finding that the more I've started really working on myself and releasing all these expectations that I set, where I felt like I needed to be perfect, where I felt like my life needed to play out a certain way, where I felt like I needed to have a certain amount of money in my bank account, or I needed to have a certain job, I let all that shit go. Why? Because I'm realizing that true happiness comes from doing the things that you love. And the things that I love right now is helping people. And so slowly but surely, I'm building a business for myself where I can help people, and I can also earn money by doing something that I'm passionate about. And a lot of times we go into things being very impatient, right? We expect things to happen when we want them to happen, trying to control every single, direction of our lives. And when I did that before, I used to operate out of fear, right? Because like right now, for instance, income hasn't been coming in like I'm used to it coming in. When I had my lash business a few years ago, I was grinding, right? I was making the decision to go out and hustle and get my clients. I was working 7 days a week. I was working from the morning until the evening, busting my ass to make money because I felt like I needed to have that security. But at the end of the day, I wasn't happy. At the end of the day, I was feeling drained. And I always felt like I needed to do more. I needed to do more. And at no time did I find time to take care of myself. So I was burning out constantly and then taking it out on other people because I was getting frustrated with life. So I kept saying that I didn't feel fulfilled when I had that business. And I kept saying, I want to do something different. I want to do something that has purpose. I want to do something that makes me feel good. And lo and behold, God provided that for me, and he shook my life up, and I had my spiritual awakening. And so now I'm at a place where I'm only going to do things I'm passionate about. And I'm having faith that God, universe, is going to provide for me. And I'm telling you right now, on this journey, I've legit only been doing things that I'm passionate about. And even though I don't have exactly what I think I should have, right? A certain amount of income, whatever. I know eventually it will get there. And I know as long as I continually put in the work and I have an abundant mindset, that things are going to turn in my favor. And that's why it's important to work on yourself, to work on the way you think, because a lot of times we think so negatively about our circumstances. We fret about the future. We fret about the what ifs and what possibly might happen, creating worst case scenarios for ourselves. And a lot of times those scenarios don't even play out. And I've been blessed to have supportive people in my life that have helped me during times where I was having some obstacles and challenges. But I'm not in a place right now where I'm going to go out and get a job that I hate because I'm afraid of the unknown, because I'm afraid that I can't take care of my bills. Because the reality is, for this past year, God, universe has been providing me. Like, I've been so lucky. Things have been just falling into my lap right when I need it. And so when things like this happen where I wake up and my cell phone is off, I'm not worried about it. Why? Because so far I have been taken care of. And so when you start your spiritual journey, when you start your awakening and you really start trusting that God is going to provide for you, just put all your trust in him. And sometimes it's not going to be easy, especially if you're not doing the work. But when you meditate daily, write in your journal, when you express gratitude for the things that you already have, and you could be grateful for where you are in your life and focus on the present moment, then you allow yourself to stay grounded in times that you feel challenged. When it feels like your back's against the wall, when you feel like you're finally living in your purpose, when you feel like you're finally doing something you're passionate about, but the income hasn't started flowing in yet. It's going to allow you to stay grounded and not worry and not fret, right? Because when you act out of fear, you tend to make choices that are not in your best interest. And we have to get out of that mindset. It's a learned behavior. We pick that up growing up by, the people that we hung out with, the role models in our lives. We picked up that mentality of lack, that mentality of making decisions out of fear. And that's not where we're supposed to be in our lives. We're supposed to be living authentically. And what does it mean to be living authentically? It means to speak your truth and be who you are unapologetically and not give a crap about what people think about you. Do what makes you happy, right? A lot of people are in jobs that they hate. They're miserable. And sometimes we think if we have all this money in our bank account, if we have the big cars, if we have, enough money to buy anything, that we're going to be happy. And that's not what makes you happy. Trust me, I've been there. What makes you happy is being able to go through life and doing things that make you feel satisfied, that make you feel content, that make you feel at peace. And sometimes we're clinging to relationships, we're clinging to jobs because we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of not having that stability in our lives or that security. And a lot of times it's holding you back. It's holding you back from reaching your fullest potential or becoming the best version of yourself. And I'm telling you right now, I feel the best I've ever felt my entire life. The best I've ever felt. And I'm at a place where I don't even have enough income to pay my cell phone bill. So how is it that I feel the best I've ever felt my entire life and I can't afford to pay my cell phone bill? But before, I had more than enough money and I wasn't happy. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. So I'm encouraging you to start really thinking about your life, thinking about the things you have going on around you, the people in your life, right? Because I went through life holding on to all types of different relationships and friendships because I thought those were normal friendships or normal relationships, but the reality is they were not. They were draining me. And if you're in a situation right now where someone is draining you, right? You don't answer the phone because you don't want to deal with their drama, or they're just very petty, or they're very manipulative, or they complain a lot. If you are seeing that you're not attracted to those types of relationships or friendships anymore, then you need to listen to yourself. A lot of times we don't listen to ourselves. A lot of times we ignore the signs. And the signs are there for reasons. The sign is there to shake you up and get you out of your comfort zone so that you can start making the changes, the necessary changes. And listen, they're not going to be easy. They're going to be uncomfortable because you really got to get honest with yourself. You got to get honest with yourself and ask yourself, why am I here? What am I avoiding? What am I ignoring? What pain am I stuffing down and not trying to deal with, right? Because in order for you to really heal and become the best version of yourself, you have to open up and reflect on your life and reflect on the patterns that you've been continuously living in on autopilot, pretending like everything is okay when you know it's not. And the reason why you know it's not is because when you have stressful situations come up, you don't know how to deal with them. You get anxious. You're ignoring all the red flags in relationships. You don't feel worthy, so you cling to relationships that aren't serving you. You feel extremely insecure. You're jealous when you see someone else wins. You constantly compare yourself to other people when you don't even know what they're going through in their lives. Those are negative behaviors, thinking, patterns, whatever you want to call it. And that's not how we're supposed to be living our life. We're supposed to be living our lives from a place of unconditional love, where we love ourselves unconditionally. We want the best for ourselves, so we respect ourselves, we value ourselves, and we don't entertain people that are low vibrational because we know that that energy is going to drain us, it's going to deplete us, and we're not going to be able to have that inner peace. and be passionate about the things that you're doing on a day-to-day. So I hope this message helps. I just wanted to share this with you and let you know, listen, everything is not what it seems. And we have to get to a place where we really just become more aware of who we are, our surroundings, these expectations that society wants us to live by that are unrealistic. And stop thinking that you have to be perfect, because nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So I hope this message helps. If you need help on your journey, go and follow me on Instagram at evolvewithunique, or go to my website, www.evolvewithunique.com. Stay blessed and good luck on your journey.